If you want to tell me what's going to be coming to them, anyway, stand by.
Hello, this is Carlos Levexier, and we've been talking about, presenting like the newsletter and presenting information to you on videotape, and now we finally have an opportunity to actually deliver on that. And, it's a real good time because, even though in the face of some adversity, a lot of times opportunity comes out of that. And so, I really appreciate the opportunity to right now, actually have the letters that I've been writing and to talk to you about those letters and actually read them to you on videotape so that, shareholders and King Garvey community members have the opportunity to either listen to it, read it, or listen to it while you read it and see it. So here we go. Basically what it is I wrote a letter. I read this book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and it really looked like what was going on at King Garvey to me. So I wrote a letter and, said, and, it was really interesting how I got a quick response to it. And, all kinds of things started happening since then. And, in terms of attacks on myself and my family. And now, I'm going to, present these letters to you and just show you, maybe you can see why you think somebody would get upset, but it's just the truth. And so now I'm going to, read those letters to you, okay? All right, the first letter, it says like April 28, 2007. And notice that basically what I was trying to drive home is that the members elect the board of directors. Members, I took this from documents that have been in existence for 27 years, and that comes from, the bylaws and the corporate cooperative structure for King Garvey. And so I wrote this on like April 28th, but I think it came out like April 30th, and then there was a rapid response, So I'll read you the series of letters since that time. Dear shareholders, the attempted removal of Treasurer Cam recently was not in accordance with our bylaws, and therefore Mr. Cam is still a member of the board of directors. Only members, shareholders, elect the board of directors, and only the shareholders can remove a board member that they elected to represent them, not the other board members, HUD representatives, or the management agent. The bylaws, Section 5, removal of directors. It says, at any regular or special meeting duly called, any director may be removed with or without cause by vote of the regular membership of record, and a successor may then and there be elected to fill the vacancy created. Our bylaws are great. This is a great rule because shareholders are legally bound by the decisions of elected board members. If the directors, for example, vote for a huge unnecessary loan, then the shareholders may not be able to do anything after because those board representatives were elected by you, the shareholders, to make decisions on your behalf. But the great bylaws of the King Garvey Corporation allows the shareholders to remove board members for any cause before such a decision is made. A special shareholders meeting is scheduled on May 3rd, 2007 to discuss the impact of fraudulent financial reports, rigged elections, payoffs, and extortion on King Garvey's real estate decisions. I recommend a book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman to all shareholders. It is a true story of how the author's job as an economic hitman was working with corporate and government representatives to pay off community leaders or use any means necessary to convince them to sign a loan designed to destroy them. The community never receives the loan money. A business group receives millions of dollars on behalf of the community. The community cannot pay the loan back, and the business group, using government representatives, oppresses the community and robs them for millions of dollars in the process. For the first time ever, the King Garvey Cooperative is only 12 years away from paying off its mortgage, and the millions of dollars accumulated in the property is attractive to white-collar businesses. The board received a $40 million rehab proposal. We are not obligated to accept it, but many people only get paid if they convince our board to approve it. But the governing documents are our authority, not HUD representatives, the management agents, police officers, attorneys, outside task forces, or even ministers. According to the Articles of Incorporation, Article 5, the directors and officers shall exercise their powers in good faith and with a view to the interests of the corporation. Join a committee to gather truth about your real estate interests and replace representatives when necessary before they make a vote that might hurt you, your children, and your children's children. And like the passengers of Flight 93 to San Francisco said, let's roll. Sincerely, Carlos Lavexiere, President, Board of Directors. And I have my number there, 415-678-6873. Now that was the first letter, and that, caused like a rapid response. And like on May 1st, 3 things started happening. I found out later, in terms of attacks. And I think it was precipitated from this letter. So on May 2nd, I wrote the second letter. You could say this is the yellow letter. And basically, one thing that you see is that there's a committee structure from the original cooperative organization document. And it just shows the committees, and it shows the 5 committees that they recommended 27 years ago in order to guide us to real estate ownership. So let me read the second letter to you. It says, it's written in memo form. It says, to King Garvey shareholders from Carlos Lavexiere, Board President, date May 2nd, 2007, regarding the family real estate business. First of all, I send a shout out to all shareholders who called to thank me for my commitment to tell the families of King Garvey Cooperative the truth. I am pleased that my letter dated April 28, 2007 received a follow-up response. The 3 directors who signed the response are not my focus. My question for shareholders is, who are the greedy economic hitmen and women behind these directors? The economic hitmen and women behind the 3 directors wanted to point out that I don't live at King Garvey Cooperative. Everybody already knows that. Because if I lived in a King Garvey unit, don't you know they would already have manufactured a reason to threaten me with eviction? There are lots of people who live at King Garvey who could complete the millions of dollars in repairs in the needs assessment. But the $40 million rehab loan would be received by a company with employees and contractors who do not live at King Garvey Cooperative. They would take the $40 million back to wherever they live. So where do the people who would receive this loan live? The millions of dollars per year that already comes into King Garvey right now doesn't come to people who live at King Garvey. It comes to people who don't live here. That's who is paid to manage the property. And the long-term board representatives are known to work really well with those types of people who don't live here. Have any of them ever used their influence to get employees that live here fired? Have any of them ever got shareholders they didn't agree with evicted? Have any of them ever helped the economic hitmen and women rig an election? I don't live here, and I don't get paid a dime to be the board president. I can afford to tell the truth. Neither the economic hitmen and women nor directors who choose to stand in front of them have the power to stop me from telling my shareholders the truth. It is in my spirit to do so. Our governing documents are a shield against tricks and tricksters. Who is willing to meet with my shareholders not to change the bylaws, the Articles of Incorporation, and the regulatory agreement, but to help everybody understand them better so that we can use them to protect and serve us? They are great. Everybody let me know if you don't have the bosses in your possession, and I will order the office to give them to you immediately. I also have your deed of trust and your original committee structure. Come to the meeting and get the truth, or call me at 415-678-6873, and I or another one of your family members will deliver it to you. According to the bylaws, even if board members don't come to a meeting, they can still be removed by the shareholders with or without cause. So represent the members and the members only. The King Garvey community is a collection of my families, and this is our family real estate business. White-collar criminals seek victims. First they came for individuals that spoke up, and I remained silent because they must have done something wrong. Then they came for whole families, and I remained silent because it wasn't my family. When they came for my family's real estate, nobody heard our cry because the stand-up families were already gone. But I see King and Garvey. Okay, so that was the second letter, May 2nd. After the May 2nd letter, I received word from a shareholder that there was a letter that was sent to her house that said Carlos Lavexier, due to known criminal activity,
You can start off on the last one, just pick up, and you could read that and see if you wanna.
oh, is it still running?
Yeah, that one, you can edit that out.
Okay. Okay, let me see. Let me finish this. As I said, after my May 2nd letter, I was informed by a shareholder that somebody had written a letter. It actually was the management agent, John Stewart Company's representatives, who mentioned my name as a person that was not allowed on the property due to their known criminal activity. And allowing them to access your unit is not permitted. And so, that was really, impacted me. In fact, I may look a little unshaven now, and it's because of the slanderous letter that was directed to me. Why would a letter like this be directed to me when, as all of you know, I've always been there to help? You understand? So, that really, affected me receiving that letter, because not only did that shareholder say it to me, but before I knew it, there was like all these people calling me and asking, how come you're not allowed on the property? What have you done? What's it, and when people, they say if something is written, it's 6 times more believable than if somebody says it. And so, it rung true, because I had all these calls from people that weren't even in King Garvey Co-op, and that rumor like buzzed with everybody. So the thing is I'm going to deal with that, but that was the second letter. Then I received that, and the third letter that I wrote is this green one right here. I wrote in response, or as the next bit of information in the series. Basically, what this says is to King Garvey Building Committee representatives from Carlos Lavexier, board president, date May 9th, 2007, regarding standing up for the real estate rights of King Garvey shareholders. Also, there's a little square in there. And in that square, it's a quote from Martin Luther King, and it goes, "In the long run, we came to see that it is more honorable to walk in dignity than to ride in humiliation." Dr. Martin Luther King said that at the boycott, in the bus boycott. So let me read this letter to you. "I am writing to let our communities know that I'm going to stand strong against the attempt to intimidate families within our community and make us sign over our real estate interests through a $40 million loan. I am proud to stand by the King Garvey shareholders who are refusing to remain silent and fall for the trap that I summarized in my last letter, where I wrote, first they came for individuals that spoke up, and I remained silent because they must have done something wrong. Then they came for whole families, and I remained silent because it wasn't my family. When they came for my family, nobody heard our cry because the stand-up families were already gone. To answer the question so many shareholders have asked me, yes, the John Stewart Company did include me, the board president, on a letter dated May 1st, 2007 that stated I was not allowed on the property due to known criminal activity. Because I completed my business degree in real estate and have never had a criminal conviction as an adult or a juvenile, this action on the part of John Stewart Company is highly problematic. John Stewart Company did spend King Garvey money by instructing maintenance staff to deliver a letter dated May 1st, 2007 that was not on King Garvey stationery, but signed by 3 directors who attacked me by name. And John Stewart Company also spent additional King Garvey money to send this letter to all the shareholders by mail. On this same day, May 1st, 2007, police sought and obtained a very questionable warrant that served to further harass one of the King Garvey's original families as part of a process which has criminalized members of that family. I agree with the many shareholders who observed the attack on one particular family and know it is very wrong. I can tell this by the number of inquiries that I have regarding the treatment being administered to this family compared to others. But the response of the shareholders inspires me to continue telling the truth. As I have said before, the shareholders only owe about $18,000 each on the mortgage. They have 12 years to pay it off, and the monthly mortgage payment amounts to approximately $200 per unit. 211 units, averaging $500,000 each, equals more than $100 million in real estate value. The book Confessions of an Economic Hitman shows how people steal a community's wealth using an enormous unnecessary loan. Apparently, people that shareholders are in danger of trusting do not want King Garvey shareholders to fully understand their real estate rights and options because they want to write themselves into a deal which divides the millions of dollars in market rate equity among themselves. Do people want to rob you for your real estate resources and see me as one of the people standing in their way? The police slogan is to protect and serve. But are they protecting and serving those who would steal your property? Don't make the mistake of thinking that for $100 million in property value, economic hitmen and women will not do your family wrong after they get rid of other families in front of you. A cooperative is an enterprise owned and operated by those who use its services. The cooperative structure provides the shareholders a guide for operating their property. Two tools allow shareholders to protect their interests and maintain power. One, the ability to elect and remove directors, and two, the committee structure. Do your part as a shareholder in a cooperative to help spread real estate knowledge through neighborly activities. They picked the wrong people to mess with. Now on the back of that document, I have another flyer that basically is a flyer for the activities committee. You know, basically it shows that same 5 committee members from the cooperative structure, again written 27 years ago. It shows our namesakes, King and Garvey. It shows activities committee. Then it says, in accordance with bylaws, Article 4, Section 4, the president may appoint committees from among the membership to assist in the conduct of the affairs of the corporation. The cooperative definition: engaged in joint economic activity, an enterprise owned and operated by those who use its services. Then I go, who is your building's activities representative? Which neighbor is good at hosting events? What neighbor makes events go well? Learn how to break the ice at events. Coordinate your building's other committee reps. And the last category is help spread real estate knowledge by activities. Learn what your building needs and doesn't need through neighborly activities. So that was the last letter I wrote today. And, so now I have opportunity to not only pass out the letters, but actually have some videotapes, some DVDs available for shareholders to view. And I think that is something that we talked about for a long time in terms of the ability to provide the message in different formats, in written format, verbal format, video format. And so, it's a way to get everybody on the same page and to understand the truth. And, we invite anybody, from all different perspectives to speak on this matter on videotape. A lot of people won't speak on videotape because they don't want to have their views documented as such. But that's basically it. Excuse me. So anyway, thanks for listening, and I look forward to speaking with you further. You can call me at 415-678-6873 if you have questions. And, we look forward to moving forward and achieving home ownership. You have the mayor, you have people talking about the black exodus in San Francisco, and I'm going, hey, this is an African American property that was designed to help communities that were impacted by government actions such as redevelopment and urban renewal that happened in the 60s and all the way up to now. And this program was designed to help those communities recover from that and achieve self-sufficiency. But now, ironically, 27 years into the project where they can achieve self-sufficiency, people want to change the deal. I'm like, hey, the deal is great. It's designed to make self-sufficient this community. You know, now it's even more diverse. There's a lot of other people in it, and a lot of people got, you know, kicked out, knocked out along the way. And, you know, we want to, you know, look at those processes. But the bottom line is that, you know, we want the whole community to know that we are going to make it, you know, to mortgage payoff. You know, there are some that feel like if we don't make it to mortgage payoff, then all of the equity, because we're a limited equity co-op. In other words, until you reach the 40-year mortgage payment, then they feel like you only have limited equity. And like the management agent has described it as how much you paid the mortgage down, which doesn't take into account any market rate growth in the value of the property. So they figure, okay, you guys are entitled to what you paid the mortgage down from the $5 million that you paid for it, $5 million and something, $100,000. Then you know that to how much you paid off, $3 million. I mean, you got like $3 million left on the mortgage, so you guys can split that $2 million. And if the property is worth $100 million, 100 minus that $5 million is ours. You know, because they're counting on the people not reaching mortgage payoff, and they're changing the deal before the people reach that point where they can burn up the regulatory agreement and assume ownership of their property that they invested in. Nobody gave them the property. They invested $60,000 and then got a mortgage insurance backed loan. And that's why HUD has a regulatory agreement, because they backed the loan. A private mortgage company loaned the money, but HUD protected that mortgage company in case we default. Well, most defaults take place in the first years. Now the property protects itself. The value of the property is so much more than the original loan that any mortgage company, you know, is secured by the property values that have gone up. You know, say if it was like the first year and we borrowed $5 million and we didn't make the mortgage payments, well, then there's $5 million that the property is worth that time. You owe $5 million. Now, you know, people are saying, hey, there's no profit here. But now the mortgage went down to $3 million and something, and the value went up to $100 million, or, you know, something very, very significant. And so now they want to switch the game because they see all of that money. So that's what I'm there to say. Hey, I'm a real estate degree. Protect our interests. Protect the interests. I can't see my people losing $100 million, arguably $100 million. Where are you going to get that back? You know what I mean? That's going to affect the shareholders, their kids, and their kids' kids, and their children's children's children's. Because some of those children's children are around. Right now, I talk to a lot of children's of shareholders and children's children's of shareholders that are like, hey, yeah, that's my interest too. Yes, it is your interest, because real estate is passed down. It's inherited. It's passed down to descendants. So therefore, it's the children's business. And I invite all of them to come in. But they're the ones that are getting attacked. You know, rather than taking the money from the cooperative all of these years and building up programs that help them, entrepreneurship and all of that, you know, they are the ones now being ostracized, being, you know, targeted. You know what I mean? And so we have to, you know, stop that. You know, we have to validate their existence. We cannot let people criminalize our young people, you know. So, you know, their children make mistakes. A lot of people's children make mistakes, but hey, they don't lose everything and you know, be criminalized like I've seen happen at King Garvey. So I urge everybody to recognize that we are going to move forward as a community, and we are going to demand the respect that our community deserves from everybody involved. Thank you.